I'm recording this from my room in the nursing home. Tomorrow I have a risky surgery. My 4 children don't know, because none of them have answered my calls in 2 years. My name is Eleanor. I am 90 years old, or so they tell me. Sometimes the numbers get a little muddled in my head. Early Alzheimer's, they say. I'm going to tell you how I raised 4 beautiful children alone, built a home with love and sacrifice, and today I face my hardest battle with no one by my side, just the faint echo of their laughter in my memory. If you have parents, or if you ever hope to be a parent, please listen to my words until the very end. This story, it might just save your family from a pain you can't imagine. My hands, they shake a little more these days, not just from age, but from the chill that settles in my heart when I look at the empty chairs in this small room. This diary, though, it's been my only confidant. Every page holds a truth, a memory, a hope I clung to, even as the world around me faded. I remember their small faces, my John, my Sarah, my little Michael, my sweet Lily. Oh, how I loved to hear them call Mommy. It was the most beautiful sound. I thought that love, that bond, was unbreakable. But life has a way of twisting things, doesn't it? The nurses here, they are kind. They bring me warm tea. They smile. But their smiles, they can't fill the void of a child's embrace. They can't bring back the voices that used to fill my home. The home I gave everything to keep. Sometimes I catch a glimpse of a grandchild on the television, or a photo on the staff's phones, living lives I dreamed for them. And I wonder, did I do something wrong? Did I somehow teach them to forget the very hand that fed them, that nurtured them? But to understand how I got here, how my story became one of these forgotten portraits, I need to go back to the days when we were truly happy, when our laughter filled every room. It's been 147 days. 247 days since any of my children, John, Sarah, Michael, or my sweet Lily, last truly answered my phone. Oh, they might have picked up once or twice. A quick, "Hello, Mom," before an excuse about being busy. A hurried, "I'll call you back," that never came. But to really speak, to share a laugh, to hear them ask how I am doing, that's a distant memory. The last time John listened, truly listened, was almost 4 years ago. It feels like an eternity in this quiet room. But I remember when he used to call me my queen, his voice booming with a joy that filled our little kitchen. The smell of my apple pie, warm and cinnamon spiced, used to draw them all in from playing outside, their rosy cheeks and bright eyes gleaming with anticipation around the full Christmas table. Oh, those Christmases! If you knew what I discovered at the end of this story, if you truly understood the depths of their deceit, maybe there would still be time for you not to make the same mistake my children did. This story, it might just save your family from a pain you can't imagine. I can still see it, clear as day, clearer than some of my memories from last week. John, my eldest, no older than 7, with his unruly mop of brown hair, meticulously building a tower of blocks in the living room. He'd concentrate so hard, his little tongue peeking out from the corner of his mouth, and when it inevitably crashed, his booming laugh would fill the house. Sarah, my little artist, always sketching in her worn notebook, her imagination soaring. She'd spend hours drawing fantastical creatures and landscapes, her tiny hands smudged with charcoal. Michael, my gentle giant, even as a toddler, was always comforting his younger sister Lily. He'd sit with her for ages, patiently explaining how a toy worked, his voice soft and kind. And Lily, my baby, always trailing behind her older siblings, her bright blue eyes soaking in everything, a mischievous sparkle always dancing within them. They were my world, my reason for waking up before dawn, to iron clothes, to pack lunches, to scrub floors until my hands ached. Every scratch, every scraped knee, every tear felt like my own. Their triumphs were my triumphs, magnified 1,000 times over. Wait, I haven't told you the part that makes me cry every night yet. The part where I remember John's university graduation. Oh, the pride that swelled in my chest that day. He was the first in our family to get a degree, An engineer. My John. I remember saving every spare penny, working extra shifts at the bakery, just so he wouldn't have to worry about tuition. He wore that cap and gown like a king, his eyes finding mine in the crowd. A silent promise exchanged between us. A promise of a future, of gratitude, of never forgetting where he came from. He hugged me so tight that day, whispering, "Mom, I couldn't have done it without you. I'll always take care of you." Those words, they echo in this silent room now, mocking me. Then there was Sarah, my Sarah, so fiercely independent, so driven. She wanted to open her own flower shop, a dream she'd had since she was a little girl, arranging dandelions in jam jars. I used my meager savings, the little nest egg I'd put aside for my golden years, and co-signed the loan for her little shop. Petal and Bloom, she called it. I spent countless evenings helping her arrange bouquets, my old fingers surprisingly nimble with the delicate petals, even though my back would ache. We'd laugh until late, sharing secrets amidst the scent of roses and lilies. Her smile, radiant and full of life, was my reward. She'd say, "Mom, you're the best business partner a girl could ask for. This is our shop." Now, when I see the glossy advertisements for Petal and Bloom, a booming success in the city, I wonder if she even remembers those late nights, my aching back, or the signature I put on that loan. Michael, my quiet, thoughtful Michael. He had such a gentle spirit. He excelled in carpentry, inherited his grandfather's steady hands. He built me the most beautiful rocking chair for my 70th birthday. It sits by the window now, gathering dust, a silent sentinel of a love lost. He spent weeks on it, meticulously sanding and varnishing, his brow furrowed in concentration. He'd bring me tea as I sat watching him, his eyes sparkling with pride when I finally sat in it. "Comfortable, Mum?" he'd ask, his deep voice filled with concern. "Perfect, my boy. Absolutely perfect," I'd tell him. He always looked out for me, even when he was a teenager. When my old car broke down, he spent an entire weekend fixing it, refusing payment, just a plate of my lasagna. He had this way of looking at me, like I was the most important person in the world. I still keep a tiny wooden bird he carved for me, nestled in my diary. It's a constant reminder of the boy who found solace in wood and gave me comfort with his creations. And Lily, my youngest, my bright little firefly. She was always the most adventurous. She decided she wanted to travel the world after college, an idea that both thrilled and terrified me. I remember sitting her down, my heart in my throat, offering her the money I had saved for a new roof, telling her, "Go, my dear, see the world, live your dreams, your mother will be fine." She spent a year exploring, sending me postcards from exotic places, her handwriting sprawling across the backs, full of stories and excitement. She'd call me every Sunday, without fail, describing bustling markets and ancient temples. When she came back, she was a new person, vibrant and full of stories. And she always said, "Mom, you gave me the world. I'll never forget that." She promised to take me on a cruise someday, when you're old enough to appreciate it, she'd tease. Her laughter, it was the sound of pure joy. I still keep those postcards, tucked between the pages of this diary. They are fragile now, like my memories, but the images of her happy face, captured on those small pieces of cardstock, are indelible. My home, the one my late husband Robert and I built from the ground up, brick by brick, memory by memory. That wasn't just a house. It was the heart of our family. Every summer we'd have huge barbecues in the backyard. Robert would be at the grill, smoke curling around his happy face, and I'd be chasing after the children and their cousins, making sure everyone had enough to eat. John would always be helping his father. Sarah would be playing with the younger ones. Michael would be quietly observing, and Lily would be the life of the party, dancing and singing. The scent of sizzling burgers, freshly cut grass, and their laughter, it was pure symphony. It was a place where everyone was welcome, a place of unconditional love. We had a huge oak tree in the front yard, and my Robert even built a swing for the children from one of its thickest branches. They would spend hours on that swing, their delighted squeals carried on the summer breeze. Sometimes now, when the wind blows just right here. I can almost hear them, soaring through the air, their faces turned up to the sun. I remember when my John got married, to his sweet wife, Maria. I helped Maria pick out her wedding dress, feeling like I was gaining a daughter, not just a daughter-in-law. Then came my grandchildren, little Michael Jr., named after his gentle father, and my darling Amelia, Sarah's daughter, with eyes just like her mother's. I babysat them often, loved every minute. My life was fuel-L, vibrant. I was the matriarch, the center of their universe, or so I thought. We had Sunday dinners, birthday parties, holidays, always together. My heart swelled with gratitude every time I looked around that table, seeing the family Robert and I had created, flourishing. I believed those bonds were eternal, etched in stone. I truly believed that. Oh, how naive I was. The laughter faded, the warmth cooled, not with a sudden storm, but with a slow, creeping frost. It didn't happen all at once. It was gradual, like a plant, dying without water, petal by petal, leaf by leaf. First, it was the missed calls. Then, the excuses. Mom, I'm just so busy with work. The kids have practice, I can't break away. I'd nod to the empty air. Understanding. Always understanding. My 85th birthday. I remember it clearly. I'd baked my famous lemon cake, the one Robert always loved, the one the children devoured as soon as it came out of the oven. I set the table for 6, even pulled out Robert's old chair, imagining John sitting there, telling me about his latest project. I tidied the living room, put on my best dress, and waited. The phone rang once. A telemarketer. The cake sat there, its bright yellow frosting slowly dulling, growing stale as the hours ticked by. The sun set. No one came. No one called. Not even a text. I threw the cake out the next morning, tear by tear, each crumb feeling like a piece of my heart crumbling. That was the first time I felt the deep, cold ache of being truly forgotten. Was I a bad mother? Why don't my children want me around? A few months later, John and Maria came over. They didn't even bring flowers. Maria, always so polished, looked around my home with a critical eye. The home I had sacrificed everything for. Eleanor, dear, she started, her voice too sweet. We're worried about you. You're forgetting things, aren't you? Leaving the stove on. Misplacing your keys. She made it sound like a crime. The house is too big for you now. The stairs are dangerous. A facility would be so much safer. Cleaner, too. Her words cut deeper than any knife. My home, the sanctuary where I had nursed them through fevers, taught them to read, celebrated every triumph. Now it was too big, unsafe, not clean enough. John just sat there, silent, nodding like a puppet. My John, who once vowed to always take care of me, couldn't even meet my gaze. He repeated, "It's for your own good, Mom. We just want you to be safe." Safe from what? From living in the memories we built here? From the echo of their childhood laughter? I looked at them, my heart a raw wound, and I knew then that their concern was just a thinly veiled desire to be rid of me. But what happened next that truly destroyed what little hope I had left? They didn't wait long. Within weeks the papers were signed. I barely understood them. My mind, they said, wasn't what it used to be. My words, though, were clear. I don't want to go. This is my home. Robert's home. But my protests were just whispers against their determined voices. The day they came to move me was a blur of efficiency and coldness. Sarah was there, directing the movers. Michael came, his eyes avoiding mine. Lily, my sweet Lily. She stayed in the car. She couldn't even face me. As they took my boxes, my life packed into cardboard, I desperately clung to Michael's rocking chair. My hands traced the smooth wood, the craftsmanship, the love he poured into it. "We can't take everything, Mom," Sarah said, her voice tight, already impatient. "There's no room?" No room. In their lives, in their homes, in their hearts. I watched, helpless, as they left the rocking chair behind. A silent sentinel of a love lost, a monument to a bond they no longer cared to remember. It sat there, by the window, like a forgotten friend. I also saw them leave a small worn wooden box on the mantelpiece, full of Robert's letters to me. They didn't even think those were worth keeping. Those letters, the very words of my beloved husband, left behind like yesterday's trash. They promised to visit. Oh, they made so many promises. We'll be back next weekend, Mom, for dinner. We'll call every Sunday. Grandma, we'll visit you at your new place. Those were John's children, Michael Jr. and Amelia. Their faces full of innocent yet ultimately empty promises. Their voices were the last thing I heard as the car pulled away from what was once my home, leaving me in the stark, sterile corridor of this place. That was 3 years ago. 3 years since the last time I saw Michael Jr.'s mischievous grin, or Amelia's bright, curious eyes. 3 years since I last truly heard their voices, full of promises that, like the rest, shattered into dust. My hands still tremble sometimes, but it's not from Parkinson's. It's from longing. Longing for a touch, a word, a memory they still choose to ignore. I tried calling them, of course. For months I called. John's number, Sarah's, Michael's, Lily's. Sometimes they'd answer, their voices hurried, impatient. Mom, I'm busy. I'll call you back. That call never came. Sometimes the phone would just ring and ring, until the automated voice told me the voicemail was full, like their lives, with no room for me. I remember one day I had a particular vivid memory of Lily's first steps, her tiny hand reaching for mine. I just wanted to share it with her. I called her 10 times, leaving message after message, my voice growing weaker with each attempt. When I finally gave up, the silence of my room felt like a physical weight crushing me. It's funny how the silence is so loud it hurts my ears sometimes. My John, my engineer, the one who hugged me so tight after his graduation, the one who promised to take care of me. I discovered he changed his phone number. Not just didn't answer, but changed it, without telling me. I only found out when I tried to call Maria, and she, with a sigh, told me, Eleanor, John felt it was best, for everyone. You were calling too much. Too much? Was asking to hear my son's voice too much? My heart physically ached, a sharp stabbing pain. It was a clear message. You are no longer part of our world. You are a burden. It was like they had changed the locks on my heart. Sarah, my artist, my flower shop owner. I used to subscribe to a local newspaper, just to see if Petal and Bloom would get mentioned. And it did. Often, full-page ads, articles about her success, her innovative designs. One day I saw a photo of her, smiling radiantly, holding a huge bouquet. Below the picture it mentioned a charity gala she was hosting. I had called her that morning hoping to wish her good luck, but her assistant had politely informed me she was too busy to take calls. My own daughter, too busy for her mother, but never too busy for the society pages. The irony, the sheer cruelty of it, burned hotter than any fever. I had given her my savings, co-signed her loan, worked tirelessly in her fledgling shop, all to see her dream flourish. And now, she flourished so brightly, she no longer saw the hand that planted the seed. Michael, my gentle giant, my carpenter. I saw him once on television being interviewed about a new community project he had built. A beautiful park with custom-made benches. He looked so proud, so successful. He spoke about his passion for building things that would last, that would bring joy to families. I thought of the rocking chair he built me, the one left behind in my empty house. Does he remember that? Does he remember the joy he brought me with his creations? I even managed to get the number for his workshop from the care home's receptionist. I called just once. Hello, Michael. It's your mother. His voice, usually so soft, was strained. Mom, please. I'm busy. I'm with a client. A client? More important than his mother, who used to bring him tea and sandwiches while he worked on his projects. I hung up. I haven't called him since. I've learned, you see. I've learned not to be a bother. And Lily, my firefly, who promised me the world. I saw her on social media, on one of the nurses' phones. She was on a cruise, just like the one she promised to take me on. Not with me, of course. With her new family, her husband, her 2 beautiful children. They were laughing, sailing past ancient ruins, living the dream I had funded. My heart felt like it was being squeezed by an invisible hand. My little grandson, I remember seeing his photo, living a luxurious life, a life I had hoped for him, but one that excluded me entirely. Did she even tell them about their old grandma? Did she ever point to the sea and remember her promise? That was the most devastating consequence. Watching their lives unfold, beautiful and vibrant, knowing I was deliberately cut out. It wasn't just abandonment, it was erasure. My days here in the nursing home are all too similar. A monotonous hum of quiet loneliness. I wake with the sun, or what little of it filters through my window, and the first thought is always the same. Will today be the day? Will a familiar voice finally call? Will the door open to a smiling face? The answer, always, is no. Breakfast, lukewarm oatmeal and thin coffee, is eaten slowly, stretched out, trying to fill the void of the morning. There's no shared laughter, no one to comment on the weather, no one to reminisce. I spend hours by my window, no longer waiting, just watching clouds drift by, each one a silent thought, a faddy young memory. On my nightstand, a few old photographs. Robert, his kind eyes, and my children, bright-faced teenagers. Sometimes I pick them up murmuring to Robert, if only you could see them now. So successful, but they've forgotten their old mom. Then to the children's photo. John, my dear, remember this day at the beach? You hated the sand. A faint smile touches my lips, quickly fading into the familiar ache. The phone on my bedside table stands as a cruel monument to my solitude, silent day after day, a ghost of expectation. Special dates pass unnoticed. My last birthday, months ago, was another ordinary day, only marked by a nurse's kind, pitying cupcake. Mother's Day, Christmas, Easter, just dates, devoid of early Alzheimer's. It feels like my own mind abandoning me. The nurses remind me of medication, appointments, but when fear grips me, the fear of losing myself completely, there's no child's hand to hold, no voice to reassure me. The risky surgery tomorrow, I still haven't managed to tell any of them. My voice swallowed by the digital void. If you think what you've heard so far is sad, prepare yourself. What happened next broke me completely. It was a Tuesday afternoon. I sat in the common room trying to read a gardening magazine, my mind struggling. From the activity room next door, I heard Margaret's son David talking loudly to a nurse. I tried to focus, but then I heard John's name. John. My old ears suddenly sharpened. Yes, my mother, David was saying. Eleanor, she's doing well. I just visited her last week. Took her for a walk. We had a lovely chat. My blood ran cold. My magazine slipped. Last week? He hadn't visited. Not last week, not last month, not for over 2 years. My mind, a shifting landscape, struggled. Had I forgotten? Was my Alzheimer's so advanced I'd forgotten my son's visit? Confusion, then terror. Could it be true? Was I losing my grip? I strained to hear more. David continued, his voice full of casual ease. She's always so happy to see me. Just a quick stop-in. A friendly face helps keep her spirits up. He chuckled. We always have a good laugh. A good laugh? The only laughs I heard were my own, bitter and hollow, when I talked to photographs. He was lying so effortlessly, making it sound like a dutiful, caring son. He wasn't just lying to the nurse, but performing for appearances, for his own self-image. A hot, stinging wave of shame and indignation washed over me. It wasn't just his absence, it was his need to pretend he was here, as if his reputation mattered more than the truth of his mother's abandonment. He was lying about me, painting a picture for strangers, while I sat feet away, invisible, my heart shattering. The audacity, the sheer, unadulterated cruelty. It wasn't a mistake or a forgotten promise. It was an intentional fabrication, designed to make him look good, leaving me to wallow. A betrayal so profound it stole the air from my lungs. I wanted to rush in, to scream. You lie. You haven't seen me in years. But the words caught in my throat, tangled with tears and helplessness. What would be the point? He wouldn't believe me, or dismiss it as my confusion. My John, my engineer, who promised to always take care of me, was now a stranger, a performer in a cruel play. His graduation promise echoed, sharp and painful. "Mom, I couldn't have done it without you. I'll always take care of you." Empty words, hollow echoes. Later I saw another family. A little girl, like my Amelia, ran down the corridor in a bright red coat, launching herself into her grandmother's arms. The elderly woman, in a wheelchair, lit up with pure joy. The little girl chattered, showing a drawing, her eyes shining. Her son, in his 40s, sat beside them, hand on his mother's shoulder, listening patiently. He even brought fresh flowers like Sarah used to arrange. They laughed, a real, genuine, joyful sound that cut through my silence like ice. I watched them, hidden, my eyes burning. Their happiness, their connection, mirrored the barren landscape of my family. The way the little girl's hands reached, the way the son's eyes softened. It was everything I yearned for, everything I had lost. I imagined Amelia running to hug me. I imagined John truly being there, not lying. A single tear escaped, tracing a lonely path. It wasn't sadness for them, but deep, raw envy for the simple, precious love they shared. A love my children had so carelessly discarded. A vision of what my life should be, what it used to be, now cruelly out of reach. And it was at that moment that I started to wonder, where did I go wrong? Was I too strict? Too lenient? Did I love them too much or not enough? Did I push them too hard to succeed or not hard enough to be compassionate? The questions swirled in my confused mind, each one a fresh stab of pain. Had I, in my endless sacrifices, in my unconditional love, somehow sown the seeds of my own abandonment? Was there a flaw in my mothering, a mistake so fundamental that it led to this desolate, forgotten existence? The fear of dying alone tomorrow, with no one even knowing, pressed down on me, heavy and suffocating. I spent months asking myself, where did I go wrong? Was I too strict? Too lenient? Did I love them too much or not enough? Did I push them too hard to succeed or not hard enough to be compassionate? The questions swirled in my confused mind, each one a fresh stab of pain. Had I, in my endless sacrifices, in my unconditional love, somehow sown the seeds of my own abandonment? Was there a flaw in my mothering, a mistake so fundamental that it led to this desolate, forgotten existence? The fear of dying alone tomorrow, with no one even knowing, pressed down on me, heavy and suffocating. But then a letter, a single envelope, changed the question to, what have they become? What I'm about to reveal explains everything, and it will break your heart. A few weeks ago, a crisp, official-looking envelope arrived. It wasn't a birthday card nor a holiday greeting. It was from a law firm I didn't recognize, addressed to Ms. Eleanor Vance. My hands trembled as I carefully tore it open, my old eyes straining to make sense of the legal jargon. My heart pounded a frantic rhythm against my ribs. It spoke of default, foreclosure, and guarantor liability. And there, right in the middle of it all, was the name, Petal and Bloom, Sarah's shop. The dream I had helped her build, the one I poured my meager savings into, co-signing that loan when she was so full of youthful ambition. The letter stated in cold, precise terms that Petal and Bloom was facing bankruptcy. Sarah had stopped making payments months ago. And because I had been the guarantor, because my name was on those papers right alongside hers, I was now responsible for the remaining debt. A debt so large, it wiped out what little emergency fund I had left, the small sum I kept for just in case, for my funeral, for unexpected medical bills. My golden years, my little safety net, vanished in a single devastating paragraph. It confirmed what I had instinctively known but refused to believe. Sarah, my sweet Sarah, had not just forgotten me. She had financially ruined me too. It wasn't anger that flooded me then, not joy for some twisted revenge. It was a crushing wave of profound, aching disappointment. This isn't what I wanted for them. This isn't the success I envisioned, the security I sacrificed for. I remember Sarah as a little girl, always wanting the prettiest ribbons, the newest toys. She had a way of charming you, of making you want to give her everything. I indulged her, perhaps too much, always believing that her bright spirit would eventually lead her to responsible choices to appreciate what she had. I remember when she once borrowed her brother John's favorite comic book and forgot to return it, claiming it was hers. We laughed it off then, dismissed it as childish squabbles. Now, those small moments played back in my mind, not as innocent memories, but as the faint early whispers of a selfishness that had now bloomed into a full-grown, thorny bush. I thought I had taught them the value of hard work, of integrity. I thought my own example of selflessness would guide them. I had given love, unconditional and boundless. They, it seemed, had chosen money, or rather, the illusion of it, using my love as a stepping stone, a safety net they never intended to maintain. The clarity was painful, sharp like broken glass. My guilt, the endless questioning of where did I go wrong, slowly, agonizingly, began to recede, replaced by a cold, hard understanding of their choices. It wasn't about my failures as a mother. It was about their failures as human beings, as children who had forgotten the very foundations upon which their lives were built. I didn't call Sarah. What would I say? Thank you for taking everything I had left? No, there was no point. No anger, only this deep, settled weariness. I folded the letter meticulously, my trembling fingers smoothing out the creases, and tucked it into the hidden pocket of my diary, right beneath a faded photograph of a young Sarah, grinning, holding a bouquet of wildflowers she'd picked for me. A silent vow made to myself. I would carry this truth, this devastating consequence, alone. It was the final lesson, the bitter pill that sealed the past, locking away any lingering hope for reconciliation. My children had abandoned me, yes, but they had also abandoned themselves, their values, their very souls. The diary now held not just my past, but the painful truth of their present. That letter about Sarah wasn't the end of it. It was merely the first crack in the facade my children had so carefully constructed. It prompted me to look closer, to listen more acutely, to pieces of overheard conversations from nurses or visitors who occasionally talked about my children without realizing I was Eleanor, their mother. I started to piece together fragments, like a detective with a fading memory, and the picture that emerged was far from the glossy images they projected. My John, my engineer, the one who worked for a prestigious firm, who was building such a successful life. I overheard a nurse talking to her daughter on the phone one evening, mentioning her husband's old college friend, John Vance. He lost everything in that bad investment, she said, her voice hushed. His big engineering project went bust. They say he's drowning in debt now, living off his wife's family money, and he never speaks to his mother. Poor woman. The pieces clicked into place, the hushed tones, the hurried calls, the changed phone number. It wasn't just about me being too much. It was about his own unraveling, his shame hidden behind a wall of silence. He couldn't face me because he couldn't face himself, the man who had failed to live up to his own promise, his own pride. He was always so concerned with appearances, even as a boy, always needing to be the best, the smartest. That need for outward perfection had now become his silent prison. And Michael, my gentle giant, my carpenter, who built things that would last. I saw a local news snippet on the television in the common room, a story about a property dispute. Michael was being sued by former clients for shoddy workmanship, for cutting corners on a major project. His name, his face, plastered across the screen. A look of grim desperation I hadn't seen since he was a troubled teenager. The quiet, thoughtful boy who loved to work with his hands, who found solace in honest craftsmanship, was now embroiled in legal battles, his reputation tarnished. The passion he once had, the meticulous care he showed in building that rocking chair for me, had apparently been replaced by a hunger for quick profit at any cost. He had abandoned his own principles, just as he had abandoned me. Even Lily, my bright little firefly, the one who saw the world, a kind new nurse, fresh out of school, was showing off photos from her own trip abroad, proudly talking about how she'd saved every penny. Like your daughter, Lily, Mrs. Vance, she chirped innocently, pulling up a social media page. She travels all the time. But I heard her husband had some trouble with his business. They lost a lot. She looks so happy in the pictures, though. The nurse, unaware of the pain she inflicted, pointed to a picture of Lily, smiling brightly on a beach, her arm around her seemingly carefree husband. My heart sunk. The luxury, the travels, it was all a fragile facade built on borrowed time, on a husband's failing ventures, probably costing them dearly. The dream I had funded, the world I had given her, was now a hollow echo, papering over a crumbling reality. It wasn't just Sarah's shop, or John's failed investment, or Michael's legal woes, or Lily's strained finances. It was the pattern, the thread of self-serving ambition, woven through each of their lives, leading them down paths of pretense and superficiality. They had chased an image, a version of success that excluded the very love that had nurtured them, and in doing so, they had sacrificed not just their mother, but their own peace, their own authentic joy. They were living empty, complicated lives, tangled in the very materialism they thought would bring them happiness. This wasn't justice in a triumphant way. It was a tragedy, a devastating, heartbreaking consequence for all of us. I picked up my diary, the one that held the letter, the one that held all these painful truths. My hands, though still trembling, were steady with a newfound, cold resolve. With this truth in my hands, there's only one thing left for me to say before the end. And now, the message that could change the life of whoever is watching. If you're watching this, if you've listened to my story, and you have elderly parents, or a grandparent, a loved one who might feel like I do, please listen with your whole heart. Don't dismiss this as an old woman's ramblings, or the fading thoughts of someone with early Alzheimer's, because one day, my dear, one day you will be in my place. You'll be staring at these same four walls, at nothing but the shifting shadows on the ceiling, waiting for a call, a knock, a visit that never comes. The silence will become your loudest companion, and you'll remember these words, and the ache in your chest will be unbearable. It's not about the grand gestures, you see. It's never been about money or lavish gifts. My children, they chased that. They thought success and material things would fill their lives. But I've seen the truth now. It just made them empty. What matters at the end of life isn't the size of your house, or the car you drive, or how many likes you get on a picture. It's the warmth of a hand, the sound of a voice that truly cares, the echo of shared laughter, a simple 5-minute phone call. Just 5 minutes to hear them ask, "How are you, Mom?" Really? A quick photo of my grandchild, Michael Jr. or Amelia, sent to my nurse's phone, just so I can see their beautiful faces, see them growing, living their lives. An unexpected, "I love you," whispered, not demanded. Oh, it would be like winning the lottery. It would be like the sun breaking through the clouds after years of rain. It would fill this quiet room with more joy than any expensive cruise or fancy dinner. These small things, these tiny threads of connection, they are the fabric of love, the true wealth of a life well lived, and they cost nothing but a moment of your time, a sliver of your attention. Don't leave it for later. Oh, how often do we say, later? I'll call Mom later. I'll visit next weekend. I'll tell them I love them another time. But later, my dear, later might be too late. For them, and for you. Tomorrow I have a risky surgery. My children don't know. They won't know unless someone tells them. And even if they knew, would they come? I have early Alzheimer's. My memories, my grasp on the world, they are fading like old photographs in the sun. My time here, my precious dwindling time, is not unlimited. This diary, this precious book, has been my silent confidant, my witness. It holds all my happy memories, all my sorrows, all my shattered hopes. But as I wrote these final entries, as I pieced together the truth about my children's struggles and the reasons for their abandonment, a profound realization bloomed in my heart, a discovery that changes everything for me. It's not just a record of my pain, it is my final testament. I've made a final entry, a letter addressed to them, to John, Sarah, Michael, and my sweet Lily. It's not a letter of anger, no, not a demand for their presence. It is a letter of truth, of unconditional love, and a plea for their own souls. I've left instructions for this diary to be found, to be read, should I not wake up from tomorrow's surgery. In it, I have acknowledged their struggles, their choices, and the path they've taken. And I have given them one last gift, the understanding that my love for them remains, unshaken by their actions, unwavering in the face of their forgetfulness. I have detailed in those pages the true intentions I've discovered, the emptiness they've built their lives upon, not as a judgment but as a mirror, a hope that perhaps, just perhaps, seeing themselves through my eyes, the eyes of the mother who gave them everything, might finally break through the walls they've built around their hearts. It is my final message, a beacon of love and truth, hoping it will guide them back to what truly matters. I still have hope, you see, even after everything, even facing a risky surgery alone. I still have hope of seeing my children, my grandchildren, just one last time, to feel their embrace, to hear their true voices before I close my eyes forever. Is that truly too much to ask? This was the story of Eleanor, one among millions of abandoned elderly people. Her voice, her fragile memories, and her unwavering love, even in the face of such profound loneliness and deceit, echo a truth too many of us forget. She is not just a character. She is a mother, a grandmother, a human being whose heart breaks with every passing day, every unanswered call, every unkept promise. Her story is a stark mirror, reflecting the devastating consequences of neglecting those who once gave us everything. She faced a risky surgery alone. Her diary, her final testament, the only witness to her pain and her enduring love. If this story touched your heart, if Eleanor's quiet plea resonated within you, then please don't put off that call, that visit, until tomorrow. Don't let your "I'll do it later" become "if only I had." Time doesn't go back, and regret is the only feeling that has no cure, a bitter companion that lingers long after the opportunity has passed. Think of Eleanor, saving her last hope in a diary, holding on to a love that was unreturned. Don't let that be your story, or the story of your parents. Share this video with someone who needs to hear this message, someone who might be lost in the hustle of life, forgetting the most important connections. And if you have elderly parents or grandparents, please hug them for me. Hug them while you still can. Tell them you love them. Let them know they are seen, cherished, and remembered. Their time is finite. Their need for connection, immense. Subscribe to the Portraits of Life Soul Pain channel for more stories that remind us of what truly matters. Stories that urge us to mend fences, to embrace, and to remember the preciousness of family.